My golden child brother and his fiancée demanded my inheritance for their dream wedding. I said no, so they forged documents to steal it. Then everything blew up in their faces. Hey Reddit, my brother tried stealing my inheritance for his wedding. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well for him. Buckle up because this gets messy. I'm Jake, 28 male, and this whole situation started when my grandmother passed away 6 months ago. She was 84, lived a full life, and went peacefully in her sleep. Grandma Helen was the kind of woman who remembered everyone's birthday, baked cookies that could cure a bad day, and had this sixth sense about people's character that was never wrong. She lived in this small house in Florida that she and my grandfather bought in the 70s. The place was modest but paid off. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a screened-in porch, where she'd sit every morning with her coffee and crossword puzzle. Nothing fancy, but it was hers. After Grandpa died 12 years ago, she stayed there alone, fiercely independent until the very end. My brother Tyler, 31 male, always got the royal treatment growing up golden child syndrome on steroids. The kid could burn down the house and my parents would blame the matches. Meanwhile, I could cure cancer, and they'd ask why I didn't do it faster. Let me paint you a picture of our childhood, so you understand the dynamic. When Tyler was 8 and I was 5, he broke my favorite toy truck on purpose. During a tantrum, I cried, "He got ice cream to calm down," and I got told to stop being dramatic about material things. When I accidentally spilled juice on his homework when I was 7, I was grounded for a week and had to write him an apology letter. The pattern continued through our entire lives. Tyler made the varsity football team sophomore year. Dad took him to every game, bought him new cleats every season, and bragged to anyone who'd listen I made honor roll every semester. That's nice, honey, without looking up from whatever they were doing. Tyler's the kind of guy who peaked in high school and never recovered. Quarterback for a mediocre team that went 5-5 most seasons. Decent grades that my parents acted like he'd discovered relativity, and a social life they treated like he was running for mayor. Every girlfriend was the one until it wasn't. Every achievement was monumental. Every setback was a tragedy, requiring family intervention. He went to state college on a partial sports scholarship that covered maybe 40% of costs. My parents paid the rest without hesitation. Roughly $60,000 over 4 years, he partied his way through a business degree with a 2.6 GPA, changing majors twice, and took 6 years to graduate. During that time, he came home every few months with laundry and an empty bank account. My parents would feed him, do his wash, and send him back with grocery money. When he finally graduated at 25, my parents threw him a massive party, rented a hall, invited 80 people, had it catered. Spent probably $3,000 celebrating the fact that their son had barely completed a degree most people finish in 4 years. Me? I went to community college because that's what I could afford. Worked full-time at a warehouse loading trucks from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., then took morning classes on 3 hours of sleep. Did that for 2 years, saved every penny I could, then transferred to finish my engineering degree at the state university. Lived in a basement apartment that flooded twice, ate ramen and peanut butter sandwiches most days, and graduated in 4 years total with a 3.4 GPA. My graduation gift from my parents was a $50 gift card to a restaurant and a card that said, "Proud of you." Tyler's graduation got a party and a used car. But sure, totally equal treatment. I landed a solid job at a manufacturing firm right out of college. Started at $52,000 a year, which felt like wealth after years of warehouse work and surviving on instant noodles. Worked my way up over 6 years to $73,000 as a senior project engineer. Nothing glamorous. I design conveyor systems and material handling equipment, but it's stable, interesting enough, and pays the bills. Bought my first house at 26. Needed work, but the bones were good. 3-bedroom ranch in a decent neighborhood. $140,000. Put down 20% I'd saved, got a 30-year mortgage, then spent weekends fixing it up. Learned to tile bathrooms from YouTube, replaced all the light fixtures myself, painted every room. 2 years later, it was worth $180,000, and I'd paid down the mortgage to $95,000. Did my parents brag about their son buying a house before 30? Not once. But Tyler selling 3 cars in 1 week at the dealership got a Facebook post with 47 exclamation points and a photo of him holding up a Salesman of the Week certificate, like he'd won an Olympic medal. Tyler works in sales at a car dealership. Has for 5 years now. Makes decent money when he actually tries. Base salary plus commission can hit $65,000 in good years. But he's inconsistent. Some months he's on fire, selling to everyone who walks through the door. Other months he's browsing on his phone and letting opportunities walk away. He's been about to get promoted to sales manager for 3 years. Hasn't happened yet, probably won't ever happen, but he talks about it like it's inevitable. Grandma Helen saw through all the favoritism. She watched my parents fawn over Tyler while treating me like the spare. She'd sit at family dinners, saying nothing, but I could see her jaw tighten when my mom dismissed my accomplishments or made excuses for Tyler's latest screw-up, never said much about it to them directly. She was from that generation that didn't air family drama publicly, but she made sure I knew she saw me, really saw me. When I was 19 and struggling to pay for textbooks, she quietly slipped me $200. We were at a family barbecue and she pulled me aside to her car, handed me an envelope and said, "Education is the best investment you'll ever make. Don't tell your parents. This is between us." I tried refusing, but she insisted. "I've got more than I need, and you're working harder than anyone I know. Take it." When I graduated community college, she was front row at the ceremony. My parents didn't come. Tyler had a softball tournament that same day 3 hours away. "We'll celebrate with you later," Mom promised. We never did. But Grandma Helen was there with flowers and a card with $100 inside that said, "First step of many, proud of you." When I transferred to the university, she sent me care packages every month. Nothing expensive, homemade cookies, a $20 bill, magazine articles she thought I'd find interesting. Tyler was still in college too, also getting packages. But his were from our parents and usually contained checks for $200 to $300 to help with expenses. When I graduated with my engineering degree, Grandma Helen drove 4 hours to attend the ceremony, even though she was 78 and her arthritis made long drives painful. She sat through the whole thing, cheering when they called my name, crying happy tears when I walked across the stage. Took me to dinner afterward, just the two of us, and told me she'd never doubted I'd make it. "Your parents don't see what I see," she said over coffee and pie. "But that's their loss, not yours. You're going to build something real." When I bought my house at 26, she was the first person I called. She came over the next weekend with a housewarming gift, a set of nice tools and a handwritten note. "Every homeowner needs good tools. Use them to build the life you deserve." She spent the afternoon walking through the house with me, pointing out what had good bones and what needed work. Didn't criticize my choices or lecture me about money. Just listened to my plans and told me she was proud I'd accomplished this on my own. Tyler? She was polite to him, cordial, asked about his job, his girlfriend, his life. But there was always this distance, like she was watching him through glass, and didn't quite like what she saw. She never said anything negative about him directly, but she also never gushed the way my parents did. I asked her about it once, why she seemed closer to me than Tyler. She thought about it for a moment, then said, "Some people earn respect by their character. Others expect it because they exist. I prefer the first kind." Her will was read 3 weeks after the funeral. Standard stuff happened first. My parents got her house in Florida, which was worth maybe $220,000. Some jewelry got distributed to various relatives. Her car, a 15-year-old Toyota that still ran perfectly, went to my aunt. Everyone nodded along, no surprises. Then the lawyer dropped the bomb that changed everything. "To my grandson Jake Morrison, I leave the sum of $280,000 in cash and investments, held in account number ending in 4829 at Fidelity Investments. This money is to be distributed to him directly and solely, without condition or restriction." She'd left me $280,000. Not Tyler, just me. The number hit the room like a grenade. You could actually hear the silence. That shocked, suffocating quiet where everyone stops breathing at once. My parents' heads snapped toward me like I'd confessed to murder. My mom's mouth actually fell open. Dad's face went from normal to red in about 3 seconds. Tyler went white, then red, then back to white. His fiancée, Brittany, 27F, actually gasped out loud like someone in a bad soap opera, hand flying to her mouth and everything. The lawyer, Mr. Peterson, didn't react to the drama. He'd probably seen this play out 100 times in his career. Just kept reading in his dry, professional voice. "The inheritance is designated solely for Jake Morrison and cannot be claimed, contested, or redistributed without his explicit written consent. This designation is intentional, carefully considered, and represents my final wishes regarding asset distribution." My Uncle Frank tried asking whether Grandma had been, mentally sound. When she made these arrangements, Mr. Peterson shut that down immediately. Mrs. Helen Morrison was of completely sound mind when she updated her will 8 months ago. I personally witnessed her signature, as did 2 other independent witnesses per Florida state law. She was very clear and specific about her intentions. 8 months ago, right after my housewarming party that she'd attended, and my parents had skipped because Tyler needed help moving into his new apartment for the third time in 2 years. The lawyer explained the account details. The $280,000 was spread across various investments, index funds, bonds, some blue-chip stocks. Conservative portfolio designed for growth and stability. She'd been building it for years, apparently, specifically for this purpose. Then he handed me a sealed envelope. Mrs. Morrison also left this letter for you. Specifically, she requested it be delivered in my presence. My hands shook opening it. Everyone watched like I was defusing a bomb. Her handwriting was shaky but clear. My dearest Jake, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm at peace with that. I've lived a good, long life, and I'm ready to see your grandfather again. This money is for you, not the family, not to be shared. You. I've watched you work for everything you have since you were a teenager. Watched you put yourself through school, buy your own house, build your own life without asking for handouts or making excuses. I've also watched your parents favor your brother for reasons I'll never understand. Tyler has always had everything handed to him. You've had to earn everything twice over. This money is my way of evening those scales. Use it to build something meaningful. Start a business. Invest it. Buy property. Secure your future. Whatever you choose. Don't let anyone guilt you into giving it away. You've earned the right to be selfish with this. Your parents will be upset. Tyler will feel entitled. Ignore them. This is your inheritance, given with full knowledge of what I was doing and why. You've always made me proud. Build the life you deserve, love always, Grandma Helen. I had to read it twice because my eyes blurred up. Reading it in that room full of people who were clearly angry made it harder, but the message was crystal clear. This was mine, and she'd anticipated exactly the drama that was already brewing. Mr. Peterson wrapped up the will, reading quickly after that few other minor details, but nothing that mattered compared to the bomb he'd dropped. The meeting ended with my parents stalking out without saying goodbye, Tyler following while shooting daggers at me with his eyes, and Brittany whispering frantically to Tyler about talking to him later. That night, my phone started exploding. Tyler called 6 times in 2 hours before I finally answered around 9 p.m. Dude, we need to talk about Grandma's will. He started without preamble. What about it? Come on, man, $280,000. That's not fair. She should have split it between us. You know that's screwed up, right? I reminded him that's not how wills work. People leave their money to whoever they want. She chose what she chose. But why you? He demanded. What did you do to deserve it more than me? The question was so clueless I almost laughed. I don't know, Tyler. Maybe ask her. Oh, wait, you can't, because she's dead. But she left a pretty clear letter explaining her reasoning. He went quiet for a second, then launched into this rehearsed speech about family and how we should share everything, how blood is thicker than water, how Grandma would want us to work together, how this money could help both of us if I wasn't being selfish. I let him finish his whole speech. Then I asked, how much of your signing bonus from the dealership did you share with me? Silence. Or the $60,000 Mom and Dad spent on your college that I didn't get. Did you offer to split that? What about when they bought you that used Civic when you graduated, and I got a gift card? You split that with me? More silence. That's what I thought. Funny how sharing only matters when it benefits you. He switched tactics to anger. You're really going to be like this? Over money? This is going to tear the family apart. No, Tyler. Grandma's will made a decision. You being entitled is what's causing problems. He hung up on me. Mom called 15 minutes later with her classic guilt trip routine. She'd been crying. I could hear it in her voice. That wet, nasally quality she gets when she's been working herself up. Jake, honey, we need to talk about this will situation. What about it? Don't you think Grandma Helen must have been confused in her final years? She wouldn't have meant to exclude Tyler like that. You know how forgetful she got toward the end. Except Grandma Helen had been sharp as a tack until literally the day she died. She did the crossword daily in pen, managed her own finances without help, could remember conversations from decades ago with perfect clarity. The confused elderly person angle was garbage, and we both knew it. Mom, she updated the will 8 months ago, and the lawyer said she was completely competent. This wasn't confusion. This was intentional. But why would she do that? Tyler is family, too. This creates such awful division in our family. Maybe she had her reasons. What reasons? Her voice pitched higher, getting defensive. You'd have to ask her. But since she's dead, I guess we'll never know. Oh, wait. She left me a letter explaining exactly why I want me to read it to you. That's not necessary. Mom's tone shifted from sad to cold. I just think you need to consider what the mature thing to do here is. You have your house, your good job, no debts. Tyler and Brittany are trying to start their lives together. They could really use help. They have jobs too. It's different. They have wedding expenses and apartment costs, and that sounds like their problem. She gasped like I'd slapped her. I raised you better than this. Family helps family. Did family help me pay for college? Buy my house? No? Then maybe family is selective about who deserves help. She started crying harder. I can't believe you're being so cruel about this. Your brother needs you. My brother needs to learn to live within his means like I did. She hung up on me too. Dad tried next with his practical businessman approach. Called the following morning while I was getting ready for work. Son, we need to discuss this inheritance situation rationally. Okay. I think you need to consider the family dynamics here. This creates division and resentment. The mature, responsible thing would be to share the inheritance equally with your brother. Did you share your Christmas bonuses equally with me? Long pause. That's different. How? Those were earned through my work. And this was given to me specifically by Grandma seems pretty similar. He sighed like I was being deliberately difficult. Tyler is planning a wedding. Do you know how expensive those are? They need help. You're in a position to provide that help. Then they should have a wedding they can afford. Life isn't always that simple. It is, though. People have weddings within their budgets every day. They can too. You're being unreasonable. This money would help your brother start his marriage on the right foot. Don't you want to see him happy? I want to see him figure out life like I had to. Funny how nobody worried about starting me off on the right foot. Dad's voice hardened. That attitude is exactly why you're in this position. Always keeping score, always bitter about perceived slights. Perceived? You paid $60,000 for Tyler's college and gave me a lecture about responsibility when I asked to borrow $2,000 for books. We did what we thought was best for each of you at the time. Right. And Grandma did what she thought was best for me. Seems fair. He hung up muttering about stubbornness. For 2 weeks straight, they worked me over with every manipulation tactic in the book group texts about family unity. Voicemails about respecting Grandma's memory by keeping the family together. Emails with articles about sibling relationships and the importance of generosity. My Aunt Lucy called saying she heard about the inheritance and thought it would be nice if I helped Tyler with wedding costs since I was doing so well. Uncle Frank sent a long text about how money tears families apart, and I should be bigger than that. Even my cousin Jeremy, who I barely talked to, reached out saying Tyler seemed really stressed and maybe I could do something to help. The pressure was relentless and coordinated. They'd clearly all discussed their approach and were tag-teaming me. Then Tyler and Brittany invited me to dinner at their apartment to talk things through like adults. The text from Tyler was painfully polite. Hey man, I know things have been tense. Brittany and I would love to have you over for dinner this Saturday. Maybe we can discuss everything calmly and find a solution that works for everyone 7 p.m.? I should have known better. But part of me hoped maybe we could actually have a reasonable conversation. Maybe he'd accept reality and we could move forward. I was wrong. Their apartment was this trendy downtown loft they could barely afford. $1,800 a month for 900 square feet of exposed brick and industrial fixtures. The kind of place that looked great on Instagram, but had paper-thin walls and a heater that barely worked. All the furniture was from expensive stores. West Elm couch, Restoration Hardware coffee table, designer bar cart with bottles they couldn't afford. Brittany had clearly staged the whole thing. Candles lit everywhere, soft jazz playing from hidden speakers, the dining table set with their nice plates and cloth napkins, wine glasses already filled even though I don't drink. This wasn't dinner. This was an ambush disguised as hospitality. Jake, so glad you could make it. Brittany greeted me at the door with a hug I didn't return. She was wearing this flowing dress that probably cost $200, hair and makeup done like we were going somewhere fancy instead of eating at their apartment. Tyler appeared from the kitchen holding a wooden spoon, playing the role of casual host. Hey bro, good to see you. Dinner's almost ready. Make yourself comfortable. The whole thing felt rehearsed, scripted, like they'd practiced this scene multiple times to get it right. We sat down to chicken piccata with roasted vegetables and risotto. Everything looked professionally made. Probably spent hours on it, or ordered from somewhere fancy and pretended they'd cooked it. The effort would have been sweet if I didn't know what was coming. Small talk dominated the first 20 minutes. How was work? Had I seen the game last weekend? Heard about cousin Jeremy's new job? All surface-level chatter designed to create false comfort before dropping the real reason I was there. Finally, Tyler set down his fork and exchanged a meaningful glance with Brittany. Showtime. So, Jake, we wanted to talk to you about the inheritance situation. He started with his rehearsed opening. I figured. We've been thinking a lot about family and what Grandma would really want. And we don't think she'd want this money to create division between us. Brittany jumped in right on cue. Family bonds are so important. They're more important than money or things. We're hoping we can find a way to honor Grandma's memory while keeping our family strong. The corporate speak was impressive. They'd clearly workshopped this conversation. What exactly are you proposing? I asked. Tyler leaned forward, going into sales mode. Look, we're planning our wedding. It's going to be an incredible celebration of our love and commitment. But weddings are expensive, as I'm sure you know. I didn't know, actually, having never planned one. But I let him continue. We found this amazing venue, the Riverside Estate. It's on the water, absolutely beautiful, perfect for photos. But the venue alone is $45,000. I nearly choked on my water. $45,000 for a venue? It's all inclusive, Brittany explained quickly. Covers the space, tables, chairs, basic decorations. But then we need catering, which is about $18,000 for our guest list. The photographer we want is $8,000 for full-day coverage with an album. My dress is around $6,000. $6,000 for a dress you'll wear once? She looked offended. It's my wedding dress. This is the most important day of my life. Tyler took over, listing expenses like he was reading a grocery list. DJ is $3,000. Florist is $7,000 for centerpieces and bouquets. Videographer is another $5,000. The cake is $2,000. Invitations and programs are $1,500. Hotel rooms for the bridal party is $4,000. My tux rental and groomsmen are $2,000. Hair and makeup for bridesmaids is $1,800. The rehearsal dinner is $3,500. And the honeymoon to Bali is $15,000. I did the mental math. That's like $120,000. $122,300 actually, Brittany corrected. Give or take, depending on final guest count. They wanted to spend $122,300 on one day more than I paid for my entire house. That's insane, I said flatly. Tyler's smile tightened. It's an investment in our future together. This is how you start a marriage right, celebrating with everyone you love in a beautiful, memorable way. Or you could have a wedding you can actually afford and start your marriage without massive debt. Brittany's perfectly practiced smile cracked slightly. We're not going into debt. That's why we're talking to you. We're hoping you'd be willing to help make this dream a reality. There it was, the ask. How much are we talking about? I asked, even though I already knew. Tyler tried sounding casual. Well, we were thinking maybe $80,000. That would cover most of the big expenses. Venue, catering, photographer, my dress. We can handle the smaller stuff ourselves. Just $80,000. Like it was pocket change. Like I should hand over nearly a third of my inheritance so they could have an Instagram-perfect wedding they couldn't afford. And what do I get out of this? I asked. They exchanged confused glances. Clearly, this wasn't a question they'd prepared for. You'd be part of an amazing celebration, Brittany said carefully. The best man at a beautiful wedding. And the satisfaction of knowing you helped your brother and future sister-in-law start their life together the right way. So I'd be paying 6 figures for the privilege of watching them party. Cool. Plus, Tyler added, think about the family unity this would create. Mom and Dad would be so happy. It would show that you're not selfish, that you understand what family really means. There was the manipulation. The suggestion that refusing made me selfish, that proving I wasn't selfish required funding their ridiculous wedding. I'm not giving you $80,000 for a wedding, I said flatly. The temperature in the room dropped about 20 degrees. Tyler's friendly mask slipped. Come on, man. Don't be like this. You don't even need all that money. You've got your house paid off. Good job. No debt. We're trying to start a life here. Then start it within your means like everyone else does. Brittany decided to try emotional manipulation. You know, when Tyler told me about his family, he talked about how close you all were, how supportive everyone was. I'm really surprised you're not excited about him getting married. I thought you cared about your brother's happiness. The implication was clear. Refusing to fund their wedding meant I didn't care about Tyler. I do care about his happiness. I just don't think going into massive debt for one day is the path to happiness. We're not asking you to go into debt, Tyler snapped. We're asking you to share money that should have been split between us anyway. And there it was. The real grievance. He thought the inheritance should have been his too, so taking some of it wasn't a gift. It was correcting an injustice. Grandma left that money to me. She was very clear about that. If she wanted you to have it, she would have left it to you. That's bullshit. Tyler stood up, done with the polite act. She was old and confused. Everyone knows it should have been split evenly. The lawyer said she was completely competent. 3 witnesses confirmed it. This wasn't confusion. It was choice. Brittany tried playing peacemaker, putting her hand on Tyler's arm. Let's all just calm down. I'm sure we can work this out rationally. She turned to me with pleading eyes. Jake, I know this is a lot of money, but think about what it means. This isn't just about a wedding. It's about family. It's about showing Tyler that you support him, that you value your relationship. Money comes and goes, but family is forever. Then Tyler should value our relationship enough not to demand I fund his lifestyle. Tyler exploded. Lifestyle? This is our wedding. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. But you're too selfish to see beyond your own bank account. I'm selfish. I'm the one who worked full-time through college while you partied on mom and dad's dime. I'm the one who bought a house I could afford while you lease a car you can't. I'm the one who lives within my means while you're trying to throw a six-figure party on someone else's money. But I'm selfish? You've always been jealous of me, Tyler spat. Always bitter that I'm more successful, more popular, that people actually like me. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Successful? You're a car salesman who's been about to be promoted for 3 years. You live in an apartment you can barely afford. You're planning a wedding you definitely can't afford. In what universe is that successful? Brittany stood up now too, face flushed. You clearly have some serious issues with commitment and family values. I feel sorry for any woman who ends up with you, because you obviously don't understand what partnership means. Partnership means working together toward common goals, not one person funding the other's unrealistic dreams. The dinner ended spectacularly. Tyler told me to get out. Brittany said I was clearly not the person they thought I was. I left the untouched piccata on the table and showed myself out. Walking to my car, I could hear them arguing through the thin walls. Tyler shouting about how I'd ruined everything. Brittany crying that they'd have to completely change their plans. The drama followed me all the way to the parking garage. That should have been the end of it. Awkward family dinners, maybe years of tension, but eventually we'd all move on with our lives. Except Tyler and Brittany weren't done trying to get that money. My parents ramped up the pressure after the disastrous dinner. They'd clearly gotten a full report from Tyler and Brittany about how unreasonable I'd been. Mom started calling daily, sometimes multiple times. The conversations always followed the same script. I was tearing the family apart over money. Grandma wouldn't want this. Tyler was heartbroken. Brittany was devastated. The wedding might have to be canceled. All of it was my fault. He's your brother, she'd sob into the phone. How can you watch him struggle like this? He's not struggling, Mom. He wants to spend $120,000 on a party. That's not struggling. That's being entitled. You don't understand the pressure he's under. Planning a wedding is incredibly stressful. Then plan a cheaper wedding. She'd sigh dramatically, like I was being deliberately obtuse. You've always been difficult about these things. Always keeping score. Always worried about what's fair instead of just being generous. The gaslighting was impressive. I was difficult for not handing over $80,000. But Tyler demanding it was totally reasonable. Dad took a different approach. He'd send long, carefully worded texts about investment in relationships and how some things matter more than money. He'd call from work using his professional voice, the one that implied he was being rational while I was being emotional. Think about the long-term impact here, he said during one call. You're damaging your relationship with your brother over money? Is that really worth it? I'm not damaging anything. He's the one making demands. He's asking for help from family. That's what families do. They help each other. Did the family help me pay for college, or buy my house, or ever once offer financial support? Silence. Thought so. Weird how families help each other only applies when Tyler needs something. He'd pivot to lecture mode. You're being short-sighted. Family relationships are the most important thing in life. Money is just money. It comes and goes. But your brother is forever. Then Tyler should prioritize our relationship over demanding my inheritance. Round and round we'd go. The same arguments on repeat. They truly couldn't understand why I wouldn't just give Tyler what he wanted. In their minds, I had something he needed. Therefore, I should hand it over. End of story. The real nightmare was Sunday dinners. I'd been going to my parents' house for Sunday dinner since college. Tradition that started when I moved out, and they wanted to stay connected as a family. Usually it was fine. Dry pot roast, overcooked vegetables, small talk about work and weather. Nothing exciting but tolerable. After the inheritance news, Sunday dinners became psychological warfare. I'd arrive and the tension would be immediate. Tyler and Brittany would already be there, sitting at the table looking like martyrs. My parents would greet me with forced smiles and meaningful looks. So good of you to join us, Mom would say with an edge in her voice. Dinner conversation would be a minefield. Tyler would make pointed comments about people who hoard wealth. Brittany would talk loudly about their modest wedding plans, while shooting glares my way. My parents would sigh heavily and make vague references to family unity. One particularly brutal Sunday, Tyler spent 15 minutes talking about a coworker who'd helped his brother with a down payment on a house. "That's what family does," Tyler said, loading his fork with mashed potatoes. "They help each other achieve their dreams. They don't just sit on money doing nothing with it." "Some people understand loyalty," Brittany added. My mom nodded along. "It's so wonderful when families support each other. That's how you build strong bonds." I kept eating my overcooked roast beef, ignoring the performance Dad tried being more direct. "Jake, have you thought any more about helping your brother with wedding expenses? Seems like a good use of some of that inheritance money." "Nope. It would mean a lot to the family." "Hard pass." Tyler slammed his fork down. "Can you stop being a selfish jerk for 5 minutes? This is important to us. Then save up for it like normal people." The fights would escalate from there. Tyler yelling about how I'd always been jealous. Brittany crying about her dream wedding being ruined. Mom begging us to just get along. Dad lecturing about maturity and family obligations. I stopped going to Sunday dinners after 6 weeks of this treatment. Told my parents I'd be skipping until people could behave like adults. Mom said I was choosing money over family. Dad said I was running away from difficult conversations. Tyler sent a text calling me a coward whatever. I had peace and quiet on Sundays now. That was worth more than burnt pot roast and guilt trips. Then things escalated in a way I never saw coming. 3 months after the will reading, I got a call from my bank's fraud department. Tuesday afternoon, I was at work reviewing specifications for a conveyor belt system when my cell phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. "Mr. Morrison, this is Sandra Chen from First National Bank's Fraud Detection Department." My stomach dropped. Fraud department was never good news. "Hi, what's this about? We've detected some unusual activity on your accounts and wanted to verify with you before processing. Someone attempted to initiate a wire transfer of $75,000 from your investment account this morning. Can you confirm whether you authorized this transaction?" My blood went cold. $75,000? No, I definitely didn't authorize that. That's what we suspected. The transaction was flagged because it's unusually large and going to an account we don't have on file for you. We've frozen the transfer pending verification. Who was it supposed to go to? I heard typing on her end. The receiving account is registered to Tyler Morrison and Brittany Chen. Does that sound familiar? Everything clicked into place. They'd tried to steal from me. "Those are my brother and his fiancée," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, despite the rage building in my chest. "I absolutely did not authorize any transfer to them." More typing. "I see. The request came through our online banking portal, using your login credentials. We're flagging this as potential identity theft and unauthorized access. I'm going to transfer you to our security department to file a formal report." I spent the next hour on the phone with various bank people, filed reports, changed passwords, added extra security measures, and confirmed that no money had actually left my accounts. The fraud detection system had caught it because the amount was so large and the receiving account was new. Then I called the police. The detective assigned to my case was this older guy named Walsh. Looked like he'd been on the force for 30 years and had seen every variation of human stupidity. I gave him the full statement about the attempted theft. "So your brother tried to steal 75 grand from you?" "Him and his fiancée." Walsh nodded like he'd heard this story before. Family cases are always the worst. People think being related gives them permission to commit crimes. The investigation moved fast. Within 3 days, they had comprehensive logs from the bank showing exactly what happened. The transfer attempt came from Tyler's apartment at 2:47 in the morning. The receiving account, Tyler and Brittany's joint account, had been opened 3 days before the theft attempt specifically to receive my money. They'd planned this. Opened the account, waited so it wouldn't look suspicious, then logged into my account in the middle of the night, thinking nobody would notice 75 grand disappearing. Except banks notice everything. Tyler's police interview was predictable. Complete denial at first, then his story changed 6 different ways when Walsh showed him the evidence. By the end, he was requesting a lawyer. Brittany tried playing innocent, said she knew nothing, just signed what Tyler told her to sign. Her story fell apart under basic questioning. 2 weeks later, the prosecutor filed charges. Identity theft, attempted wire fraud, conspiracy. Both Tyler and Brittany got arrested. My phone exploded. Not just my parents. Everyone. Aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends. Everyone had opinions about me destroying the family over money. Mom called sobbing, "Your brother was arrested. You're ruining his entire life over one mistake. He tried stealing 75 grand from me. That's not a mistake. That's a crime. You could have handled this privately." Should have thought about that before trying to rob me. She called back 6 more times. I didn't answer. Dad sent a 3-page email about how I was weaponizing the legal system against family, how criminal charges would destroy Tyler's future over a misunderstanding about money. He ended with, "Your grandmother would be ashamed of you using her money to tear this family apart." That line particularly ticked me off. Grandma had specifically told me not to let anyone guilt me about the inheritance. Now Dad was invoking her memory to manipulate me into dropping charges against my thief brother. I didn't respond. The extended family pressure was relentless. Uncle Frank said I was really going to send my brother to prison over money. Aunt Lucy texted that I needed to be the bigger person. Cousin Jeremy said Tyler had learned his lesson and deserved a second chance. What lesson had he learned exactly? He'd only been caught, not stopped voluntarily. If the bank hadn't flagged the transfer, my 75 grand would be sitting in their account right now, already spent on wedding deposits. Nobody seemed to grasp that concept. They kept talking about Tyler's mistake like he'd accidentally backed into my mailbox. This wasn't a mistake. This was premeditated theft. The most offensive call came from Brittany's mother. She tracked down my number and called crying about how I was destroying an innocent girl's life. She helped set up an account to receive stolen money, I pointed out. Tyler told her you'd agreed to give them the money. Then she should have verified that with me directly. She switched to begging, then hung up cursing me out. Apparently, I was a heartless monster who deserved to rot in hell. Cool. The legal process dragged on for months. My family essentially excommunicated me. No calls, no texts, no invitations to events. When my cousin got married, I didn't receive an invitation. Thanksgiving and Christmas passed in silence. I was fine with it. Turns out losing relationships built on guilt and one-sided sacrifice was actually freeing. The trial was short. The prosecution had overwhelming evidence. Bank records, IP logs, forensic analysis showing when Tyler had accessed my phone. Tyler's lawyer tried arguing it was all a misunderstanding between brothers, but couldn't dispute the actual facts. The jury deliberated 3 hours and came back with guilty verdicts on all counts for both Tyler and Brittany. The judge wasn't sympathetic during sentencing. You violated your brother's trust and attempted to steal a substantial sum. The fact that the victim is your brother makes this worse, not better. You exploited family relationships to commit crimes. Tyler got 18 months in county jail plus 3 years probation. Brittany got 12 months plus 2 years probation. Both were ordered to pay full restitution plus court costs. The wedding was obviously canceled. Hard to get married when you're both convicted felons serving jail time. My parents sat in the courtroom sobbing and glaring at me. My mother said, "I hope you're happy now," loud enough for everyone to hear. After sentencing, my parents tried one final guilt trip outside the courthouse. "Your brother's life is destroyed because of you," Dad said. "His life isn't destroyed. He's facing consequences for felonies he committed." Mom grabbed my arm. "When he gets out, he'll have a criminal record. He won't be able to get decent jobs. His entire future is ruined. Should have considered that before committing identity theft and wire fraud. You're heartless. I don't even recognize you anymore." "Good. The person you knew let you walk all over him. That person's gone. I walked away from them in that courthouse parking lot and haven't spoken to them since that was 8 months ago. Tyler served his sentence and got out 3 weeks ago. He's living with my parents now because his criminal record makes finding apartments nearly impossible. He's doing delivery driving to pay his court costs and restitution. Brittany moved back with her parents in another state. The engagement is off. Turns out going to prison together isn't the romantic bonding experience movies make it seem. My parents still haven't spoken to me. Extended family is split. Some relatives quietly reached out to say they understood. Others think I'm a monster. I'm fine with all of it. The inheritance money is still mostly untouched. I've invested the majority in index funds. Boring, responsible. Exactly what Grandma would have wanted. I bought a duplex as a rental property. Both sides are rented, and the income covers the mortgage. I didn't let them guilt me, and I won't. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.